The year is 2005. You're young. It's 2 years until the first iPhone release, or Assassin's Creed 1. YouTube guys just launched their video service, but nobody in Europe knows about it. And after school you are playing on a computer, pretending to be on highway chases, invading the lands of Normandy, interrogating terrorists, playing solo multiplayer game in a galaxy far, far away, getting jump scares from a little girl. Which, I kinda have to admit, this was a fucking blast of a nostalgia year. But the title I dreamed about the most was this. This. Give me this. These are my happy pills back in the day. Badass prince fighting demons going back in time, and now you can turn into alter ego and smash opponents with a chain? Sign me in right now. I don't care. I barely have the money to buy potato chips. I want this thing in my computer right now, alright?
Alright?
And not just the trail, but the game, from what I remember, was action-packed as hell. Just a side note, back then the games were released after a year or two of development max. And I remember playing the Warrior Within for hours. Hours. Not because the game was long, but I was bad at this game. And the combat system was one of the first sword fighting games where you had to block and time your attacks. Which was kinda different than every other games, where you just push one button. And now to give me a chain and a demon-like looking prince. How much more badass I can be? So yeah, that's what I remember from my nostalgia kid driver, and the game was really 17 years ago. I checked. And it was blast to play, not just the jumping and wall climbing mechanics, which were really groundbreaking and set the standard for the industry. We can see them in titles like Uncharted, Code of War or Fallen Order. It wasn't just push this button and you can parkour everything. You had to time your movement. If you fail, you fall and have to start again, not like the other game, but still, it made my 13-year-old brain mad. So I was getting mad from the game. Check. Why? The combat was also from a time where autolock didn't exist. Time, parry, combo hits, and oh my god, the combo hits from the control port were just ridiculous. X, Y, X, 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 Y, X, Y, 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 X, X, Y. Making some of the battles a struggle, but that was good. It was not just simple point and click, he dies kind of game, but more of a tactical thinking which enemy I'm going to engage first. Do a backflip, jump over him so I get more space between enemies and more time to think. And same as it was with the Warrior Within, special segments that were running from the Haka beast were replaced by the Dark Prince himself with a goddamn chain. But that's as far as my memory goes. But the memories were good. The game was really 17 years ago. I checked, so the game will be good. And I will have a good time, right?
Wrong.
Ubisoft are known for their cinematics, so we open up with one. Prince is going back to Babylon after the Island of Time. The Haka was there and running away from it was part of the gameplay. And the Princess of Time you find in the end, but you save her, and now we are here, fighting yet again. Because as all heroes, Prince just can't take a break and live the happily ever after. And he crashes his ship. And we start playing, and what the fuck is this? The mouse is inverted, so I have to change in the options. The mouse is slow as hell, so I have to change it in the options. But still I cannot turn? Remember when you were small and playing this game? Yeah, well I do, and this is not how it felt like. But I get it. In the early 2000s there were either PC games or console games, right? But the difference back then was that the ports from the consoles were shitty as hell. Hell, we are even lucky that the old GTA games were playable on PC. But they were released later, like half a year or more later, because of the port. Learning the mechanics, you get a dagger, and now comes the most self-realization, well, the most self-realization, who wrote this stuff? The most self-realization quote, whatever, just watch the video.
Why is it that every time disaster strikes, I find myself without a proper blade? Still, it's better than nothing.
And our first stealth kill. I have to admit, adding another 1 or 2 time sequences to perform the stealth kill is a clever idea. Because even if you try your best not to be seen, you can still mess it up. No, don't get me wrong, but the jumping mechanic sucks. And because you don't have an analog stick on the PC, and whenever the camera changes angles, you have to reset the position you are facing, or you're going to fall. This game is mean to you, especially on the jumping part. You press too soon, you die. You don't press it in time, you die. Or my own superpower, pressing it randomly like a 6-year-old. And it's not just that you are going to die, but you have to go over the whole segment again. And if you think this sounds like a Dark Souls, then yeah. The core of the mechanics are here, but in early stages. Assassin's Creed is the direct sequel to this franchise, with its open world parkour system. But with Assassin's Creed, developers decided for just pushing one button, so you can parkour over everything. No punishment whatsoever. And at the time of the 7th generation consoles, this is how everybody did it. Simplified mechanics, but improving the graphics, and to be quite honest, I miss these days where I had to think and time the movement. It was challenging, sure, but rewarding as well. If I fall, I have to do the segment over again, but if I don't, and even succeed on the first try, the feeling is even better, because you know you could have failed many times. And that's what actually happened. My first hour with this shitty console part of controller was a pain, but after 1 hour, it did feel good. I started becoming Prince. I started planning my routes. I was careful which button to push. Yeah, of course I died, and more than once, but it kept me going. And that feels natural, and is relatable. That's what we, as a people, do every day. Learn something new, and sometimes, if we are passionate at something, we want to get better at it. And many games struggle to keep this in the game design. But not here. You naturally progress and learn after each segment new jumping mechanics. We learn wall run, wall slide between two walls, using our dagger as a pole. At one point I had to fight with an archer, and I accidentally overjumped him and fell down. And every time I tried to get back, the arrow shot me down from the dagger pole. At one point I wanted to give up, but no, I'm not a quitter.
Doing the exact same fucking thing.
This is getting stupid.
Yeah, he killed me after some time, but I didn't quit. What is the feeling? It did feel good. Now after some time you get into this big wide hole. And I do appreciate the developers had the tools to create good looking 3D games, but not just that. But try to replicate the real world history. Now, I never been to Middle East, but this is what I would imagine it would look like. You need to puzzle jump. Is that even a word? Puzzle jump? Anyway, puzzle jump over the whole area. You hear some history from the Prince lore. Fight an archer, and press right mouse button to wall climb right.
Insanity is.
Now, the fighting isn't bad, but it isn't great either. You generally have two buttons to push for attack. Dagger is your unbreakable weapon, and then you can pick other weapons that are lying on the ground for the second hand. And they do break after some time. You can even throw a weapon, and that's it. It's like the old fighting games where if you press different sequences you get different combo. Now to be honest, I played on the easiest difficulty because what I remember, I played a lot of Warrior Within, but not because it was so long, but I was bad at this game, especially with the weapons, and my cousin always had to do the hardest parts. But now, in the intro there is no special challenge. Maybe time will tell.
This is how it happened. This is how I died.
No!
What have we here?
The Vizier!
Ah, you must be the Prince of Persia. Come home at last. Too late, I'm afraid. I believe I have something of yours.
No! Kaileena!
Now all Babylon is shaking and oh yeah, the rewinding time is back! Now, because Prince took the princess Kaileena out of time of her time island, has changed the course of the history, I think. I think that somebody that we killed in the Sands of Time is alive again, and it's probably the dude from the cinematic. So Prince pushes deeper into the castle, and since he avoided death, he has this demon guy living inside him. Finally, it's Demon Prince time to shine.
What have I become? A sand monster?
I hear a voice in my head. I'm lost in the underground sewers and meet first goblin warriors. Why is the prince surprised same as me? Don't ask. But new climbing and obstacle mechanics are introduced and I got weird chains stuck to my hand. Now, if you're dumb as me, you would be fighting here forever. But after third wave, I got the memo that I have to do something. But to do something, you have to stand on a pixel of place and use chain to pull this rock lever and open the door, because, you know, this is how levers look. Now, there is a trade-off to the Dark Prince, and it is as time progresses, you lose health, so either you have to be a monster and kill something, or try to get the sand time. Since it's called the sand monster, probably because of all the time alternation and spending time with the time sand. But I have to give some credit here to the narration, because mostly up to this part the prince is talking to himself, which is good for the audience, but it's weird. But the sand monster has its own mind, and definitely some inspiration in Venom has to be here. You know, because it's black and it's stronger and both have some kind of a host.
As a child, Father would tell me stories
Pay
about...
attention. Something's happening down there.
Is that... It's the Vizier! He has been completely transformed.
Interesting. He has used the power of the sands to transform his army. And these artifacts will allow him to transport them across the city with ease. He appears to be in complete control. Things do not look too good for you at the moment.
I will not let the Vizier have Babylon. My city. My throne!
Are we for real now? I know that the graphics were not exactly realistic, but those eyes... they are going to haunt me. The water breaks the character of the sand monster. There have been some physics classes taken here. But now we get a chariot, and I have to tell you this is awesome. It's an old game. Wiggly camera, scripted time sequences, and oh my god, slow motion scenes. You either laugh at this or you love it. And I'm all about the second part. Also, you really have to appreciate developers with this little scene. Where is the Babylon Gate? It's there just for a few seconds. They could have just used generic walls they have been using the whole time. But back then, I think some dedication went into this art. And I appreciate small details like this. Good job, guys.
I'm impressed.
Oh, good. Your opinion means a great deal to me.
Is that how you thank the man who just saved your life?
As quirky as it may sound, the inner dialogue makes the game better. Even the fact that the prince doesn't appreciate the sand monster and definitely didn't ask for help. He just have to roll with it. But me as a gamer, I appreciate the different fighting styles through the game, and good thing is, it gives me this little something always to look forward to. And small mystery like when is the next transition going to happen, and I was really looking forward to it every time. Because I cannot control it and tell yourself whatever you want, but to have something I cannot control, this gives me a dopamine rush. Now you may have noticed small little bug at the beginning, where the light just expands and covers the whole monitor. Up until now it was doable, but then came the sequence and it blinded me and I was stuck. So if you counter this, just turn the special effects down to low and it fixes the sunlight bug. Remember when I told you this is like a Dark Souls? Well, I really didn't remember this part, but there is a boss battle. It looks like something from The Walking Dead where it doesn't have the lower chin and just tongue hanging from the mouth. Yikes. The sand monster does give me a hint to go for the eyes, and it worked. So 2 times I have to execute this special sequence to rob the monster from his sight, and then just go for the legs and lower the health bar. Now I know it is the easiest difficulty, but beating this sequence on first try, it was satisfactory win overall. And that sums up pretty much the first third of this game. Now, I cannot lie, the mechanics are really outdated and the PS2 port doesn't help at all. But the natural grind and learning curve of the game mechanics, even if I count pretty simple but powerful combat system, it is a very good game from game design perspective. I love the sand monster and the passages. Maybe it's again my nostalgia, but overall I enjoyed this game, playing again after all these years, coming back to it. I would give it a B, maybe B+. So, what is your nostalgia game from your kid days? Comment below and maybe I will review your game next time. Thanks for watching guys, and I see you in the next video.